Hey there, soccer freaks. This is ATL On Fire, the podcast where we talk all things Atlanta United Football Club. So sit back, buckle up, enjoy. Let's get back to MLS soccer, Atlanta United. We are what we are at this point. Unfortunately, my pessimism that you turned me around from having at the beginning, I feel like we are what I thought we were, and that is a very average team. I realized that with 3 points in the table, all of a sudden we can move up and be in the playoffs just with one win. But I just fear with the gaps that I am seeing in the way that we're capable of playing, that we are going to be right about where we are right now at the end of the season. Our record right now is 2-6-2. 6 bloody ties. And I think I've got, hold on here, Dave. Let me check something here. Oh.
Open wide for some soccer! Atlanta soccer is It's coming to Springfield.
It's coming to Atlanta.
Oh, here. Fast kicking, low scoring, and ties. You bet.
Had to do that.
I like it, Mikey Dobbs.
Yeah.
I don't like the ties, but
it's a lot of ties. 6 ties. Come on.
Yeah, the only thing just from a standpoint, we can get into details, but just from a standpoint of a record, you would say, okay, well, they're a tough team to beat. They're not losing games, and you feel like to go from tie to win is possible. To go from to loss to wins, not so much.
So before we get into the recap of the last 3 games, which
so we had 2 consecutive. I'm not sure we talk about either of the games. We had 2 consecutive 2-2 ties against Nashville and Philadelphia. Then we lost 1-0 to New York.
I was just talking about our last 3 games.
Okay, it was New York and then and New York again, right? New York City FC and then New York Redbulls.
Yeah. So you're talking about all the games that were ties. Yeah. Sorry about that, mixing this up there. But
no worries.
So you've got all the ties. Can you repeat that?
So there were 2 consecutive 2-2 ties against Nashville and Philadelphia. I think that's what I want to talk about the most. And then we lost 1-0 on the road at New York City FC and came back home and tied 0-0 against New York Red Bull.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to talk about what I think some of the high-level problems are right now with the team?
Go for it.
All right. I have some scribbles here. So
when Mikey Dobbs goes into the notes, podcast listener beware.
It's a rare occasion. I'm enjoying some Glenmorangie. I don't have work tomorrow, so I'm really able to lean in tonight. Okay. And that's why I'm standing. I feel like I've got some energy tonight. And so the problem is we have a lot of quality. I really do. I feel like there's a lot of great players in our team, and they're able to knock the ball around, but there's too much youth out in the 10 in front of Brad Guzan right now. And I do not see a leader on the field. I do not see a veteran player out there, a 1 or 2 veterans, particularly with Joseph Martinez not being out there as of late. And in the early games, he was not confident, so he really wasn't playing that typical role of barking and leading by example. It's very clear right now that there is a lack of seniority out on the pitch, and there's only so much Brad can do from barking at the guys in front of him when they make an egregious error. You really need that person to take control in the middle of the field, and I just don't see that at all. I don't know if you agree with that, but you
don't see that from Sosa?
I see that from Sosa. Sosa is the one shining light, but he's still a young player. He is still somebody that doesn't necessarily have the team listening to him. He leads by example, which I love, and he puts a little grit in. Even the game the other night, like the whistle blew, the ball was there, and he like slid tackle somebody and just popped somebody. You're like, yes. I love his attitude. I love everything that guy's doing. Even his last 2 games, which I would say maybe are his 2 worst ones, I still love some of the things I see from him.
Okay.
From a leadership standpoint, I will give you that, but I still don't feel like the team necessarily is turning and receiving and taking his messages, other than, like in the other game, the commentator said it, like he went in and got the yellow card, which could have almost been a red by just taking that guy out. That's one way to lead. I think it's the other part of the leadership that we're missing. And then it's a little bit more calmness actually that I'm looking for in terms of keeping our head and preventing these ties from happening, and having a sense of I've been there and I've done that, and we're totally missing that.
Well, I think that we were a little bit ahead of the curve in pointing out how young Atlanta United is. And, because of that, so you got to combine not only young, but a lot of players who haven't played together very much. Add cherry on top with a new coach, and that's a recipe for what you're talking about, a lack of leadership. In a perfect world where the franchise is going to, be dominant, sort of for many years in a row, you wouldn't want to go through a valley where you have so many new players and they're so young. You would want to continue to turn over, at the little bit older and have at least a veteran presence. But the Atlanta United, the way the club has been set up to be a selling club, if you will, this is something that the Atlanta United supporters are going to have to deal with, which is a lot of, continual rebuild, seeing the new young player. The question is, how quickly can you bet in those young players? Are they talented enough, to win over the couple years that they're going to be here, and before they move on to bigger and greener pastures?
Yeah, and I think that's part of where the plan is broken down, in terms of some of the moves, like Lopez having to go back, having to leave Atlanta United due to family circumstances, veteran player. I think